everyone out there in mandolin land, Mike Heading here, coming to you today with a little free mandolin lesson. I wanted to talk about playing some blues licks out of closed chord position. So what are closed chords? Closed chords are chords without open strings, right? They're used a lot in bluegrass and country music, and it's really good to learn how to play out of a chord shape. So it's really good practice to learn how to play out of a closed chord because, one, you can move it around very easily. Since we're not using open strings, we can move it to a different key. The other thing that's really good about learning to play out of closed chords is a lot of times you'll be playing back up, and rather than having to transition down the neck and play a lick, you can stay up in your chord shape and play a little backup fill lick and go right back to rhythm. So we're going to use this concept and apply it to a blues progression. So let's jump into this lesson. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just doing this in D to start, and I'll show you how to move it around in a second. But let's just get it under our fingers in the key of D, and then we'll move it around. So I'm playing out of my bluegrass Monroe style D chop chord up here. I've got my ring finger on the 7th fret of the low string, my index finger on the 4th fret of the D string, and my middle finger on the 5th fret of the A string. So you have 7, 4, 5. Kind of like this C chord, if you know that one down there, just up 2 frets. So first let's just get our chords for the blues progression. So we have a 1, 4, 5 is a common blues progression. So we have D, G, and A. Right? But we're not going to do the chords down here, so let me show you some easy ways you can find those chords up here without moving your hand much at all. We're going to do our D here. If you take these 2 fingers and move them up, that's like an easy 2-finger G chord. And what you can do is you can bring your ring finger back onto the 7th fret, kind of taking it on and off. You see that? So I have D here. I move those 2 fingers back down. That's a G. So I'm going D, G, D. If you want a D7, you can take your middle finger and move it to the 5th fret of the low string and take your ring finger off and just play the 2 low strings. And that kind of leads into a G. You can hear that. So you have... And I kind of like just adding that finger to mix it up, add a little rhythm. And then A is 2 ways you can do it. You can take this G shape and slide it up 2 frets. So now instead of 4 and 5, you have 6 and 7, and then your 9th fret. That's one way you can do it. If you don't want to move your hand up, another way you can do it is take your ring finger and move it down 1 fret, and then have your middle finger come up to the 6th fret. Like that, and you could add your pinky if you wanted to, like that, or you can just play these 2 notes here. So you have D here, dog, G, D, D7, G, D, and then A, G, back to A. That'd be like kind of a basic blues progression, right? So the first thing is just get awareness of where your chords are, right? Because that's where your licks are going to come from. Okay, so get that down first. And then let's go over some scale licks and stuff you can do. So we can start with our ring finger on the 7th fret. If you want to keep it kind of minor, you can play 3rd fret on the D string, 5th fret, and 7th fret, and then 3rd fret on the A string, and 5th fret. That'd be like minor pentatonic. And then you can actually play the 5th fret on the low string too. So you have... I'm just playing not straight up and down the notes, but just kind of mixing them up to create a little melody. The other thing I'll do a lot with blues songs is use all downstrokes. That's like a very Bill Monroe style way to play. Go to G. You can just slide into the notes. sounds nice. You just always want to end on your D here or end up here on this D, right? So your root notes are there. And then practice falling back into your chord, right? So if I play a lick, the other thing that's very common in blues is sliding from the minor third into the major third, right? So that 3rd fret to 4th fret on the D string. Something like that, right? So playing with that minor and major. Very common, like blues, kind of bluegrassy or blues lick. So that's the one thing I'll do a lot, is sliding into that 3rd. The other place you can do that is up here with your pinky. So if I keep my middle finger on the 5th fret of the A string, which is our D note, you can play your pinky either on the 8th fret or the 9th fret, or slide into it. Or bend it. You don't do a lot of bending on mandolin, but you could. Something like that, right? So you key is keeping this your middle finger down. That's a very Bill Monroe lick. So I'm not using any open strings intentionally, so I can move these licks around in the future, right? So the other thing you can do is, if you want like the traditional blues scale, you have 7th fret on the low string, 3rd fret D, 5th fret, and then the 6th fret, which is our blue note, and then 7, 3 on the A, 5th fret on the A. So like sliding through that 6th fret into the 7th fret, that's like the sliding through the blue note. Or you can backslide. So again, I kind of use a mixture of these ideas, right? If you want it all minor, you can keep it minor. I personally like mixing them together, so I might do like a blues lick through the blue note, and then go back to the major third, right? And then you got the 7th there. You can slide into your G. And then I might hit this F, kind of hammering onto that G note from the F. You don't have to follow exactly a blues progression, right? You can just kind of make up something, right? So we're just practicing getting familiar playing out of this shape. So don't be too critical of what you're playing at first, okay? The other thing I might do is use like a double stop. So I've got my ring finger on the 7th fret of the A or the D string, 7th fret, middle finger, 5th fret, A string. You could like slide into that. Something like that, right? That's like a little idea I might use. So what I think about when playing blues is think really rhythmically and think in phrases. So I might play a lick and then like a response. Think kind of call and response. And you don't have to play the exact same lick, but I'm leaving a little bit of space between each lick. into the notes is cool. So don't worry too much what lick you're playing at first. Work on staying in the position and seeing those chords. Right, so I've got D, G, A, and D, right? You can play around with it like that. That'd be like a nice little call and response lick. Go really bluesy in tension if you want to. So that'd be like 6th fret on the D string, and then the 3rd fret on the A. And remember, you're just playing around, so if you don't land it perfectly, it's not the end of the world, right? You're getting used to that position. Okay? So let's look at moving that around. We can move it down 2 frets to C. Now your F is here, your 4 chord. 5 chord is here, G. So you don't even have to necessarily know what key it is. That's what's cool. You can just move it until you find one that sounds good. That'd be F. But again, if you don't know what key it is, the other thing that works good about mandolin is there's a lot of symmetry, so you could also move the whole shape down. If you want to add the low string, you can add your pinky on the 9th fret. But you could also just play it with the top 3 strings, literally just taking that same D and moving it down toward the floor. That would be A. Now your 4 chord is here on the middle strings, and your 5 chord is here. Right? So you have... So you can take it, move it anywhere you want. Anywhere you can play this little shape. You can move it down to G, that'd be a common one. C here, right? D here. That's why playing out of the chord shape and visualizing the shape is so important. It's much more important than what particular lick you're playing. I'm using a series of anchor fingers to keep me in position. I'm also trying to use the same left-hand fingers to connect it in my mind to a lick I've already practiced, right? So I don't play it up here this way and then down here with different fingers, right? Because that's going to make it feel like 2 different licks. I intentionally try and use the same fingers whenever possible. So then wherever I'm playing that, you know, you can play it anywhere on the neck. You could even play it up here in your high D. If you wanted a whole octave, right, you could go up here. Right, so I could play that same lick. It's kind of tight quarters up here, but you could definitely do it. So I'm working out of this D octave up, right? So you same scale. Four chords right here. Same as here, right? Same fingers. And then your A is there. You can do some cool like tremolo slide licks, like that'd be like a very Bill Monroe, like something like this, like those backslides. This is like a Monroe or Mike Compton I think of a lot when he does that kind of lick. Or you can slide up. So I don't want to throw too much at you for one lesson, but really focus on getting those 1, 4, and 5 chords down, working out of this shape, and then see if you can start by adding the minor pentatonic, and then see if you can add that blue note, and then see if you can slide into the major third, another very common, like that kind of sound. That'll work on a lot of tunes. You can play those on blues songs. You can play them on bluegrass songs. So there's a lot of stuff you can use for this. And remember, what's important too is that you're in your chord shape. So even if you're not playing a blues song, maybe you're just playing a bluegrass tune. You know, you can play little licks there that work really well. Like that. Or anything out of that shape is going to sound pretty good and pretty safe. All right, hopefully that helps you out. Good luck and keep picking. You got this.